Welcome in to Between Two Meeples. I am Armando Castaneda, and joining me today is...
Isaac Meyer, Barmaid Games.
What are we talking today?
We're talking top 10 games for couples.
Yes, newlyweds, people who've been married a long time like I have. The whole gambit.
I fall more in the newlywed category. But
people with, I feel like, significant others that don't like games. We have some for that. We got some games. So if that interests you, stick with us.
Number 10.
On the docket. Kabuto Sumo.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a nice light 2 to 4 player game, but it plays really nice at 2 players. Takes anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, I'd say I would never... I've played it maybe one time with more than 2 players, and it is definitely not where it shines.
I feel like this one you could... If you're just pushing stuff off and you're trying to force the other person, like, it can get really mean, I feel like, at 3 and 4 if you're just picking on the same person over and over again.
It can, and there's player elimination, so I don't like that as much. But the game's just, you got this little table, and then you've got this cuter, smaller table that you set next to it, and then you're going to be pushing these wooden discs onto the thing, and the rules are pretty like, here's what's cheating, here's not what's cheating, but really, you got to just like watch the other person's finger the whole time, because I've played with people that push like way further than they're supposed to.
Oh, look, it's still going.
But yeah, it's the whole point of the game is either starve your opponent of their pieces or push their piece off. That's pretty much it. And then the rounds are quick and you can play a few. There's player abilities and stuff in there that make it more interesting. And
for those of you to get a better grasp, I don't know if you've been to an arcade.
Yeah.
I remember the ones where you drop the coin in and the coin gets pushed and then more stuff falls off.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it is in board games.
It's a similar thing, yeah. They call it a coin pusher,
Yeah.
is what the game's called.
There you go. And they're not just all coins, right? They're different shapes.
Yeah.
Pushing.
Most of them are circles, but I think all of them are circles, except for each asymmetric bug gets a special piece that looks weird.
Got it.
But, yeah, it's a fun little game.
Kabuto Sumo.
Yeah, number 9, we've got Cascadia.
I love Cascadia.
It's a great game, but it's, I believe this won the Spiel des Jahres.
I think so.
A couple years ago.
Yeah. And if the Pacific Northwest is not your theme, there's another one that you really like that's very similar.
I prefer the game over Boss. The gameplay is very similar. You've got your main tile and then a little tile that you're going to be drafting as a set, and then you're going to be placing it into your area. In Cascadia, it's your habitat, and over Boss, it's, I want to say your dungeon or something, but you're drafting these tiles, and one is going to score based on one thing, and then the little tile is going to score. So in this game, well, we're talking about this game, so we'll talk about this game. In this game, your big tiles are going to score based on
connectivity,
them being connected, where the little tiles are going to be scoring based on cards that are dealt out at the start of the game that determine how they score.
Yeah, so there's 4 different difficulties. You got A, B, C, and D, and if you want a really easy game, you can play with all A's.
Mm-hmm.
But the game does say, shuffle them up and randomize it so that the game changes every single time. So the game play doesn't get stale, and it's very light, it's very easy, it's very solitaire, so the really only player interaction that you're going to find with somebody getting mad at you during this game is taking a tile that you absolutely needed. So that's really the only player interaction. So.
And the other game in this series is Calico, but that game is so mean and so cutthroat because, like, most of the time in Calico, I am taking the tile you need rather than the tile I need, because the tile I need is probably not even out there. But it just so happens every time I play Calico, that's how it works out. So.
This one is not as mean, so that's why it's on the couples night. That's why it's nice, it's easy to teach, easy to learn, easy to grasp.
Yep.
Quick games because they only last you only get 20 turns, and it's as long as your partner isn't taking 5 minutes per turn, the game goes quick. Number 8, we have Lost Cities. So this is our first 2-player only game that comes on the list. And this is a nice little card game where you are drafting cards. Not drafting. You're drawing cards, I guess is the right term, because you're drawing from the deck.
There's a little bit of drafting because you can take one that the other person got rid of.
I guess that would be the drafting part of it, because you can throw it in the middle, and you can either choose to take from the top of the deck, or you can choose to take from one that's discarded.
It has this thing where there's 5 suits, and if you're building a suit and you have to go lowest to highest. So as soon as you play a high number, you can no longer play underneath it. But the second you start a color, you get negative 20 points.
Lose 20 points right off the bat.
So if you start a color, you need to be sure you can at least get 20 something from it, or else that's all for none.
Yes.
And there's this push and pull, and there's this, usually in a 2-player game, there's this moment where one of us starts the color that both of us were, like, usually we're kind of both working on our own too, and then somebody breaks the last one, and you go, okay, good luck.
Yeah, because if you don't have the big numbers to try to, like, cap it off, if you don't have the 9 or the 10 or the 8, like, you have to have a bunch of the little ones just to get that thing ramped up. Because if you have the multipliers in there, and you have a negative number, the multiplier works against you. So now you're, like, timesing your negative points.
I taught this game one time, and they didn't quite get that, and they scored like negative 60 points for one of their colors. Brutal. But no, it's really fun. Yeah. My wife loves this game, and if there's a game that we want to play, just the two of us, this is one of the ones that comes off the shelf almost every time.
This is one of our travel games. So we have this one in Arizona. We have it. It's just one of the
in this box, or do you just put it in the zip
No,
box?
I have 2 of them. I have 2 copies. Like, I like the game so much that I have 2 copies of Lost Cities, one here and one in Arizona. And both of the games have, I don't know if you've played it with the purple expansion, where it has, like, now you have 6 colors instead of 5. It makes the game not as mean when you're trying to fight over that 5th color. So if you want a little bit nicer version, add the 6th color in.
Yeah, for sure. So Land versus Sea.
I really like this one.
Yeah. Have you ever played with, like, all the added stuff, or you only played base game?
I've only played base game.
Okay.
And I have played it where we actually had the third person in it. And I don't like it with the third person.
Yeah, for me, as a 2-player game, I would never even try. I would never even try. And
it's not, like, I feel like this is one of the ones like Dice Throne where, like, it can play more, but it shouldn't play more.
So this game, you're just placing these hexamino tiles, and we're both building out this map together, but one person is land, one person is sea. Whenever a sea area is closed off, the sea player scores points based on how big it is. Mm-hmm. Same thing for the land player. And then there's this twist of there's these like X's. I can't remember what they're called in the game, but
treasure tokens. Aren't
but they give you bonus points, and the bonus points go to whoever closes the tile. Yeah. So sometimes it's worth it for me as the sea player to close your land and steal all your bonuses. Yeah. And in there's a lot of meanness in this game. You have to know that going in. There's no way to play this game nice. No. You cannot be nice.
Because you're purposely trying to either block somebody or stop them from doing something.
What I like to do
is stopping them.
What I like to do is just open their areas up as big as possible so they'll never be able to complete it. Yep. And there's no way to play this not nice.
It's just very mean.
It's very mean, but it's very fun. Yeah. And it's quick and lighthearted enough to where the meanness doesn't feel... When you know you're going to be being mean, it no longer feels mean, you know?
I agree with that.
Like, if you go into the game knowing, like, we're just going to be punching each other in the face the whole time.
I mean, you only have, 2 or 3 tiles in your hand? Like, you can't... There's sometimes you just... You can't help but, like, I have to put this here.
Sorry.
Yeah. I have nowhere else that I can physically play this, or it even works to lay down. So, like, sorry.
But it's a lot of fun, and my wife really enjoys this one.
So is mine. Number 6 is another one that...
2-player only.
2-player only. And you actually like it better on the app.
Yeah, so this is a game that my wife and I... if you've played Seven Wonders, this is very similar in the way that everything scores and everything.
You're building the wonders out.
You're building the wonders. You're building your resources to be able to build bigger cards. The cards combo off each other, and this one can get you this one for free. It's all the same stuff, except built around 2 players. And there's the military in this I really like is like a tug of war.
Yes.
Where if you can just win military just in round 2, if you can get that all the way to your side.
It's hard to win.
It's really hard. But if you don't check, but it forces the other opponent to check you. Whereas in Seven Wonders, I can just at some point just give up on military and just be like, oh well, I'm gonna lose a bunch of points.
There's no point for me to take those cards.
Yeah. And in this, you have to take them. Which I like in a 2-player game, that forcing your hand. But Armando did say something about how I like the app, and I think this game's got a great app. My wife and I pull it out at dinner. It automates so much of the setup, because that's my one downside of this game.
The setup is a little brutal because in the cards, it's not like when you open draft in Seven Wonders, you take all the cards and you have to lay them out in like this weird shape,
like a pyramid.
Yeah, some rows are face up, some rows are face down. That's one of the things that I like about it. Some rows get covered by other cards, so in order to get that card, you have to physically unlock a card in front of it, which also plays into the strategy of the game because you're like, well, I know you need that card.
Yeah, so I can't unlock it.
Yeah, I am not going to unlock that one. So it forces you to like take another path and change your strategy going down, hoping that there's enough cards that where I don't have to take it. You take the one that you have to unlock it, which forces me to take the one out of your hand. So like it's
and you can just. I love when they finally unlock that card and you just turn it in for money.
I don't need it.
So
it's really nice. But whether you play it on the app, which it looked really nice,
it's
really
great.
Easy, it auto calculates everything, or you play it on the board game, which is how I love to do it and how we play it. Seven Wonders Duel.
Number 5. This is the big ridiculous version, but this is Dice Miner. It's a little bit more, I would say, of a less known game.
I think. Well, I mean, they sold a lot of the base copies, I thought.
Maybe, yeah. But this game is just really fun. There's this mountain of dice. And you're drafting dice from the mountain. And this is actually one of the few games on this list that I think plays great at all of its player counts. But in 2 players, it's very back and forth. And me and my wife, we play this all the time. So.
Well, it's because you get so many more
you
dice.
You get so many dice.
Because there's dice in there that are bad dice.
Yep.
And when you get the bad dice, what happens? You lose points?
You lose points, but there's dice that can turn the bad dice into positive points if you roll them correctly. Yeah. And so you're drafting dice, and you can only take the top of the mountain. And so it's a similar thing to Seven Wonders, where you start with few options, and you get more and more options the more you go down. And there's the same thing of unlocking.
And then when you run out of options, you hope that the other person takes the bad options so that you get the good options. Yeah. So it's this real...
And then my favorite part of this game is at the end of each... So you're going to score. There's 3 rounds. You're going to score. And then you're going to take all of your dice from the previous rounds, roll them, and then you have those in addition to your next round. And so by the 3rd round, you've got like 20 to 30 dice in front of you, and you're just like rolling handfuls, which just feels awesome. I love games that let me roll more than like 5 dice at a time. Just like get the handfuls. It's just one of my favorite feelings in board games.
Yeah, so you taught me this at PAX, and I really enjoyed it. Like, this is one of the games where I played it once, and it was good enough for me to want to go out and buy this game and bring it home to try it with the wife. So like that's how much I enjoyed the game, you know, being fairly new to it, and like I would highly recommend it because it was extremely fun. We played it at 3. And having more dice at the end of the round, it doesn't seem like a bad thing at all.
No, it's a great thing. So yeah, it's great.
Right. That's Dice Miner at 5. Number 4. So, is Sleeping Gods. I have not played this one, But from everything that I've seen, everything that you've told me, it sounds like a really amazing game.
Yeah.
I've read a lot about it.
Yeah, I can take the wheel on this one. I'll start out by saying this is my wife's favorite game of all time. And she's
very not a heavy gamer.
No, she is a lot less of a gamer than me. But at the same time, one of her favorite games is Anachrony. So that one's a wild card. I don't know what happened, but she loves Anachrony for some reason. But so this game is it's a big adventure game. I would almost say it's like a choose your own adventure because you start out, you read a thing, and right then you're dropped into this world. You get this little boat, you open up this map, and it says, you're here, play. And on your turn, you can move the boat, you can explore where you are, and when you explore, you read this thing, and if you have so-and-so keyword on a card that you've unlocked, or like another mission that you did earlier, then you unlock a whole new part. So like you remember these things and you're like, oh, we just got this keyword, we've got to go back, and you backtrack, and then you unlock this whole new part of the area. And the whole game is you're collecting what I believe are these, I believe they're called totems. And you have to get a certain number of them, and there's a bunch of endings. And we played it in 3 days. It was like 18 hours, and we just left it set up on the table, which I think is probably the way to play this game, is to just set it up and leave it set up.
Alright, so let me ask you a question then. Is it one of the games like a legacy game where if you play it once, you're destroying the game while it goes?
No. So, and I really want to play this again. We both want to play it again. The reason we were able to play it is because we both had COVID. And so we both took had to take like the week off of work or whatever it was at the time. And so we just were like, whatever, let's just play this. And the power went out. So then we played it by candlelight as well. It was a great time.
So the replayability is there.
The replayability is there for sure, because unless you're playing really weird, I think it's pretty much impossible to see the whole map in a single playthrough. So there's a bunch of replayability in getting to go discover. Like you could start one game by going to the west. The next game you could go straight to the east. And because we went this way, we unlocked these keywords and were able to do these things later. But if you started going this way, you would get different keywords that would unlock you to do different things as you come over here. And so it's very replayable. It's beautiful. And
there you go.
It's all the mechanics in it are super streamlined to where once you learn how to play, it's really easy. Number 3.
We're blowing through this quickly.
Yeah. Splendor Duel.
So you just got your first taste of this.
Yeah, we just played this. It's my first time. It's really good especially if you like Splendor.
Yeah, especially if you like Splendor. We were talking about it earlier. Like, I still think it's better than Jaipur. Like, one of the things that I feel like Jaipur is too simple. I like the complexity behind, like, trying to screw you out of doing things. Like, you did it to me multiple times. Yeah. I was one jam away from being able to do something, and he would use his player ability to go and... It's not a player ability, it's more like a...
No, I just always would
buy a card ability.
That let me steal your gems every time.
So you can steal gems, you can take turns again. Like, there's cards that allow you to take turns again. There's cards that allow you to take cards off of the central player mat.
Yeah.
So it just adds so much more complexity to a game that's already great.
Yeah, it definitely added things that I felt like Splendor was missing. Yeah. At least from my perspective. Well, I mean, Splendor's great. I don't feel like Splendor's missing anything. But I feel like for me...
It has zero player interaction.
Yeah. But also, I feel like the player interaction is more welcome when there's only 2 people.
True.
Because it slows the game down a little bit. And when there's only 1 person in between my turns, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
But, no, it's really fun. Yeah, I just played it for my first time just like a little bit ago. And
you beat me.
Yeah, but...
But all in all, Splendor Duel, it is one of my wife's favorite. It is a heavier game. As far as like what we have here for like the 2-player games, I felt like there's a lot of strategy.
Thinky.
Yeah, very thinky because you don't want to make the wrong move. You want to be able to make sure that you're going to win. That's every game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're contemplating like which should I go and get, which gem should I go and steal? Because if I don't take the gems now, they might be gone, and then I'm really hosed. So, Splendor Duel, if you want a more competitive 2-player game, this is where you're going to go into, because I feel like this is more cutthroat, more competitive than that of like 7 Wonders Duel, because of the player board and the personal interaction between the 2 players. The number 2 game on our list is Dice Throne, any version of Dice Throne.
Yeah.
I have the small.
The Marvel.
Marvel. You have everything.
Everything Dice Throne, yeah.
So, if you want Marvel Dice Throne games, the X-Men one is coming out.
Yep, it's live. It's live on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah. This video will be out before it closes. So.
Yeah, sweet.
One of the best things about this thing is that it does say that it plays more than 2 players. I personally wouldn't do it unless you're doing it like 4-player teams.
The 2v2's fine.
Yeah.
But that's...
It's not great.
It's still not...
But it's doable.
Yeah.
More doable than like your 3-player King of the Hill style or anything like that.
If I try to play this with more than 2 people, what we do is we just do a tournament.
Yeah.
So everybody picks a character, they get paired up, they fight each other, and then the winners go on and the losers go down. And
so, if you don't know anything about Dice Throne, essentially what it is, it's like it's Yahtzee. It's Yahtzee with characters that have asymmetric powers, and you are rolling, I believe it's 6 dice every single time. You sure?
5 dice. Yep.
5 dice every single time?
Yep.
And you have to create some sort of combination of the dice in order to be able to pull off either like a weak hit or your epic superpower that you have. That you can be
all
able to
6s.
Yeah, all 6s. And then one of the main reasons why I like it so much is because how well they did with the Marvel stuff and like actually making their player abilities like represent like what they did in like the comic books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which they did a really good job. So any Marvel fans out there, any superhero fans, like this one covers it all. And it's one of the other games where you know you're going to beat them up. So you go into the game not knowing that it's mean because the only way to play it is you are trying to beat
it doesn't really feel mean to me at all because it's
a lot.
You're dealing damage, but it's in a way it's kind of like the first to 50 points.
Yeah, it really is.
It doesn't really feel like I'm punching you. It kind of feels more like I just got 6 points.
Yeah. It might take off your health is what it is.
Yeah, but it doesn't really feel mean at all. Like you're never really stealing things from each other. The meanest thing in the game is there's a couple cards that you can change. So like maybe somebody just rolled all their 6s and you play a card that says, never mind.
Get it out of here.
You gotta re-roll that one.
Yeah.
That's like probably the meanest thing.
Well, I guess the biggest difference between like mean and not mean games is where like you have no choice but to do something to the other player. Like mean games, I feel like I have a physical choice. I have all these cards and I'm knowingly playing it.
Yeah. Unless you're Loki. Loki's mean.
Yeah. You can cover up some of your abilities
Loki's
and stuff
mean.
like that. So
I don't like playing against Loki. I love being Loki, but
yeah, you would. So, all right, that is Marvel Dice Throne in a nutshell. That is our number 2 couple game.
Any of the dice thrones are great. So if you can find any of them on sale, I like the generic ones as well.
Yeah.
Where you're just playing as a monk or paladin, but those are also great. So
same setup.
Number 1, Clank Legacy. For me, it's specifically a legacy. For you,
I've only played the base game. I've played the original Clank and I've played some of the other Clanks. I haven't played the legacy one.
Yeah.
So I want to.
For me, this is my favorite legacy, and especially that I've played. But it takes Clank and just expands on it in such fun ways, and the writing in this is really light and funny, and there's like parts that break the fourth wall and stuff like that, and it's really good. I love the writing in this. Usually I will skip over some of the
flavor
story elements, because for me it's not really what I play games for. But in this game, I was actually excited every time we got to read something new because it was so well written.
And the story is about dungeon crawling, right?
Yeah,
the story is still the same one.
Yeah, the story in this is we are like a group of adventurers that's been hired to like delve into this thing. It's such a weird kind of loose.
Yeah.
But there's like this bad team that is doing a similar thing, and you're trying to best them. So what I like about this is there is not only are you playing Clank, and Clank is getting better because you're ripping up cards that you don't like. You're putting stickers on your favorite cards to make them even better. So when they come out, you get this uber awesome card. But there's also slight bits of co-op in this. You're still going against each other, going for the better score.
So semi-cooperative.
But there's little bits where we have to do this, and it doesn't matter which one of us does it, but it needs to get done.
Before somebody can hightail it out of there.
This just takes Clank, makes it, in my mind, 10 times better, and I have thought about buying a second copy
just to
play it again. It's that good.
It is a deck building game, and you are going through a dungeon. You are moving from point to point, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that interests you at all, like any of the Clanks, you don't have to start with the Legacy version, but any of them are really good.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I started out with the base Clank, and I started working my way through the series. And none of them have been bad so far. So
no.
Any version, if you can find a cheaper version of any single Clank, like we do recommend, Clank as a whole. Especially for like your intro to deck building, I think this was really easy too.
It's fairly easy to teach, and it works great at 2.
Yeah.
This is, I think, even better for 2 players because you do get to, on those things where there's a little bit of co-op, you get to pick, like, we're working as a kind of a team, whereas I would feel like at 4 players and 3 players it would get a little bit more like chaotic.
You go do this so I can run out.
Yeah, but in 2 players it's kind of like I can keep track of you. We're gonna go do this, right? But no. We love this. My wife, she loves getting to tear up the cards. It's her favorite thing. Anytime that we had to get rid of a card, she just like loved ripping it up, and then at the end we had a big pile of all the ripped up cards and we burnt them.
There you go. All right, so that's our top 10
mm-hmm.
games that we suggest for couples night.
Yeah.
Game night. So that we have light versions in there. We had some pretty complicated ones, some heavier ones like this one. Probably take you some time. That Sleeping Gods. But
it's a lot of rules overhead. But once you start playing Sleeping Gods, it's really easy.
So all kinds of games to go out there and try if you haven't heard any or try any, but those are our 10 that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
One of the games that we both really love at 2 players, and we've played, I think me and you've played this thing at 2 players, I don't know, a bunch of times.
40, 50 times at this point.
And it is one of the games that you've made.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, this is Expressions.
We're going to say this is honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Or 0.
Expressions. This is coming out. We're shooting for February.
Yep.
If you like games like The Game, Hanabi, The Mind, this is in that genre of deduction, but it's just a card game. And yeah, we've played this
a lot.
Like 50 times at 2 players, and it works great. The shtick of the game is we each get dealt cards. I'll pull it out here. So we each get dealt these cards, and all they are is they're 1 through 10.
Multiple colors. You got blue, red, yellow, purple.
Yep. Each one represents a different expression. And we're going to get dealt these cards, and then we're going to have a timer stack. And when this is gone, game ends immediately. And so we are trying to play these cards in such a way that gets the other person to guess what's in our hand. So if, let's say I had these 3 cards in my hand, I could play this 5 here to denote this is my lowest green. And that lets Armando know, hey, I have I have greens in my hand higher than this.
But the 6
The
and the
6
8,
and the 8 are gone. We already know they're not in play. And boom, he knows
I have
a
3
decent
guesses.
amount of information about what's in my hand. And every time that you correctly guess, we both get to score a card. And the goal of the game is to just have
more points than the
negative points. And every time you guess wrong, you're adding things to negative, which is agony.
Yep.
And the timer stack is also always going to agony as well. And so there's this, you start in this pit of agony and you're trying to crawl your way out.
Yeah. It gets to the point where you're like, do I give a clue or do I guess to try to make sure that I can like get rid of a card to help me
make
give
a better clue? Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes saying, oh, I have 10's my highest card is not a good clue.
No. Unless you've got all of them.
Yeah.
In which it's like, just guess.
But most of the time it's not.
So we have been pulling this out at the end of pretty much every night that we've played games. Let's get in a quick game. Doesn't matter if it's 2-player or...
And you'll have actual copies at PAX Unplugged, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to PAX Unplugged.
Yep.
So we will have that game there. So if you find us and you want to know more about it...
Yeah, we'll have copies to play. This is just a prototype right now, but we'll have real copies at PAX, and I just grab me. We'll sit down at any table, and I'll play it with you. I'm there to play Expressions.
Plays up to 5?
Up to 5. We're shopping 6 right now. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but there might be a way to do it that will be in the rule book. The box will say
everything else.
The box will say 2 to 5, but there might be a 6-player rule in there.
There we go.
If you really want to play it with 6 players. So.
All right. Well, that is our video today. We've gotten you 10 great games that we really enjoy, plus 1 that we got coming out here soon. For more stuff about Barn Made Games, check out all of those links that I'm going to have below.
Yep.
So you will have a website with merch. You'll have a website you can buy games off of, right?
Yeah, you can...
Pre-order?
It's not really... it's just reserve a copy so that we know how many... the more people that reserve a copy, the more we're going to print. And then we'll charge you for it. We'll send you an email saying, hey, it's going to be available here, and then we'll charge you at that point. But right now, it's just make sure that you get one so that you print enough.
So you can go out there, you can pre-order it. We got more links, emails. I'm at B2 Meeples for Instagram.
Yeah, just type in Barn Made Games anywhere, you'll find us.
So that is our video. Peace.
Peace.